Harry Hartog offer what they call Australia's original tailored book subscription. But how tailored is it really? I tried out 3 months of their monthly book subscription to find out for myself. Hi, I'm Erin, lover of books and stationery, and tester of book subscriptions, so you can find out if you might like them too. In case you're not familiar with Harry Hartog, they're an Australian-based family-owned independent bookstore chain with 14 brick-and-mortar locations around the country, as well as an online retail presence. Named for a fictional, aspirational character, Harry Hartog are known as a bit of a whimsical destination for book lovers. On their website, they describe themselves as a meeting place between the worlds found inside books and the world around us, and state that they will strive to keep the passion of the physical book alive for years to come. I've been into the Brisbane location in Carindale a few times, and it really does have that worlds of possibility around every corner kind of a vibe. The wording on the subscriptions page of the website makes me think they're mainly targeting folks buying book subscriptions as gifts, but as a big fan of the self-gift, I signed up for their 3-month adult book subscription for myself. Thank you very much. And this video is not sponsored by Harry Hartog, by the way. I paid for this subscription, I just wanted to find out what it was like. They also have a cookbook subscription and a children's book subscription option, in case that takes your fancy, but I tested the fiction subscription, so that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. They have you fill out a fairly simple form that has a section right here for the recipient's favorite genres, topics, and authors, which I filled out exactly as you see here. I told them some authors I love, genres I avoid, and that I care about characters more than plot. In hindsight, it's possible that I don't love literary fiction as much as I thought I did. More on that later. Just for fun, I'd love to know how you would fill this field out if you were signing up for this subscription for yourself. So pop your self-descriptive book lover blurb in the comments down below. You pay the subscription cost up front, and then they ship the books out to you every month for the duration of however long you signed up for. So in total, I paid 138 Australian dollars for 3 months, which included shipping, which works out to about $46 per book. That might sound kind of steep, but it's very clear that there is a real person choosing these books for you based on the information you gave them, and I want that person to get paid, so I'm okay with a slightly higher cost. On that, I believe there was some industrial action around Christmas time with Harry Hartog that is potentially still ongoing as recently as February, so I don't know what the status is on that, but I hope everything gets sorted because we do like people to be getting paid. So, which books did I receive, and what did I think of them? We're about to find out. I'm gonna hand you back to past Erin, who had much longer hair. We'll open all the books together, and then I'll give you my individual reviews of each one, because I have read them all. Kind of. I've actually received my first 2 of this subscription already, so I figure I'll just open them both. So this is the July book they've sent me. Oh, it's actually packaged up so beautifully. It's always nice when something you've bought for yourself actually feels like a gift. Wow, this person is great at tying bows, whoever did this. Okay, this card says... Oh, it's handwritten. Look at that. Dear Erin, thank you for your subscription with Harry Hartog. I hope you enjoy the books. Best Christian. And it's paper clipped to something underneath. Oh, it's set up like a gift. I don't know if this is just what everybody gets, but it says you've been gifted a Harry Hartog subscription. Over the next 3 months, you'll receive a new book picked just for you. Our subscription's tailored to your tastes, and we would be delighted if you could get in touch with your reading preferences. I've already done the form thing, told them what I like. Visit our website and click through to our subscriptions page to tell us more. If you would rather leave it entirely up to us, that's absolutely fine too. We love taking our subscribers on a new reading journey. Kind regards, Harry Hartog. All right, let's find out what the book is. This is beautifully wrapped. I'm going to actually try to slice it, because what's a junk journal girly without her wrapping paper from packages, you know? Okay, Evenings and Weekends by, oh my goodness, Oisin, author's name, Oisin McKenna? Zadie Smith-esque in its kaleidoscope of London, says Neve Campbell. A masterpiece, says Owen Jones. I've never heard of this book, which is good, this is what I want. Let's read the blurb. A love letter to cities and people and heartbreaks. It made me cry, says Aileen Miles. So many shout outs, like author recommendation, endorsement statements on this one. Astonishing, a magnificent read, says Russell Tovey. Sexy, clever, and shockingly alive, says Tomas Jadrowski. And this book swallowed me whole, says Saba Sams. Summer in London stops for no one. Not the half-naked boozers, stoners and cruisers, the hen parties glugging from bejeweled bottles, the drag queens puffing on hurried fags. It's June 2019, and everyone has converged on the city's parks, beer gardens, and street corners to revel in the collective joys of being alive. Everyone but Maggie. She's 30, pregnant and broke. Faced with moving back to the town she'd fought to escape, she's wondering if having a baby with her boyfriend Ed will be the last spontaneous act of her life. Meanwhile, Ed is trying to run from his past with Maggie's best friend Phil and harboring secret dreams of his own. Phil hates his office job and is living for the weekend while falling for his housemate Keith. But there's a problem. Keith has a boyfriend and there might not be room for 3 people in the relationship. Then there's Rosaline, Phil's mother, who is tired of feeling like a side character in her own life. She's just been diagnosed with cancer and is travelling to London to tell Phil if she can ever get hold of him. As Saturday night approaches, all their lives are set to change forever. Set across 2 scorching days in the feverish capital, Evenings and Weekends is a vivid portrait of a city and its inhabitants that announces the arrival of a vital new literary talent. So this is a debut book, published in 2024. Very interesting. I love stories about people. I'm probably gonna love this. I will report back with my findings once I have read it. All right, I'm gonna pop that up here. That was July. Let's look at August. Same lovely packaging. This time we've got a sticker. Gosh, I need to learn how to tie a bow like these people. They're kind of perfect. On the card this time, another handwritten one. Dear Erin, I promise I haven't lost the plot with this one. I think you'll enjoy it, just might be a bit different. Best wishes, Laura. There's something about getting a handwritten card with a product like this where the insides are a mystery that is really heartwarming. I don't know, it does really feel like a person has put a lot of thought into this for me. I guess it's kind of like if you went into the bookstore and asked a staff member, this is the kind of stuff I usually read, what would you recommend? And they were just like, let me tell you about my favorite books. And there is nothing better than when you ask somebody for a book recommendation, they recommend you something you've never heard of or that doesn't sound like something you would choose for yourself, and then you love it. So I'm really hopeful. This one's a little heftier. International bestseller Michelle Faber, The Crimson Petal and the White. Unbelievably pleasurable. Look at this cover. That's really pretty. Oh, this one has a way smaller blurb than the previous. It says, watch your step. Keep your wits about you, you will need them. So begins this irresistible voyage into the dark side of Victorian London. Amongst an unforgettable cast of lowlifes, physicians, businessmen, and prostitutes, meet our heroine Sugar, a young woman trying to drag herself up from the gutter any way she can. Be prepared for a mesmerizing tale of passion, intrigue, ambition, and revenge. I would never have picked this up for myself. Oh my goodness, it's long. This is a long one. 833 pages. They're like, when you get a paperback and the pages are really thin and there's a lot of text on them, I'm like, oh, I'm a little intimidated by that. Intrigued though. Oh, the spine is really nice too. Okay. I will definitely report back when I've read these and let you know how it went. This is my 3rd and final Harry Hartog book in my 3-month subscription. Shall we find out what it is? This little note says, thank you for reading with us. Enclosed is the final book of your subscription. And then I've got my cute little handwritten one underneath. Oh, this doesn't tell me much. Dear Erin, thank you for being a Harry Hartog subscriber. I hope you have enjoyed the books and found some new favorites. Best wishes, Lauren. Thank you, Lauren. That doesn't tell me anything at all about the book you've chosen for me or why, but I guess that's fine. Oh, I can kind of see Modern Divination. I can see through the paper. That doesn't ring any bells though for me, so let's check it out. All right, gorgeous cover. Modern Divination by Isa Agajanian. The cover is so pretty, look at that. It's blurbed by a few authors on the front too. Lush and atmospheric, full of magic and yearning from Olivia Blake. High stakes, deft romance, a gem of a book, Hannah Witten. And the cozy contemporary fantasy of my dreams from Ava Reid. All right, okay. Ooh, there's a bookmark. That's just a Harry Hartog one, that's fine. Let's find out a bit about this book, shall we? The color of magic was gold. I think Terry Pratchett would disagree. 23-year-old witch Aurelia Schwartz has always had to carefully balance her human life with her secret magical one. With a place at an elite Cambridge college, she almost has everything she could possibly want within her grasp, just so long as she follows the rules. Make no promises, tell no one what you are, and never stay the night. Except Aurelia's gift of green magic has begun to fade. Worse still, someone is hunting witches and stealing their powers. Reluctantly, Aurelia needs the help of fellow witch and dreadfully arrogant classmate Teddy Ingram. Together they seek refuge among his family in the remote corners of an already desolate town. But as she grows closer to Teddy, the power-hungry witch killer draws nearer too, and they threaten to destroy everything Aurelia holds dear. This is the first of the books from the Harry Hartog subscription that actually seems like something I would pick up for myself. So that bodes well. What are we looking at here? 500 odd pages? The acknowledgements start on page 503, so that's okay. I'm curious, I'm fascinated, and I'm hopeful, so let's see how we go. I will report back soon with what I think of all three. Now that we know what they all are, let me tell you what I thought of each of these books. I read them in the order that I received them, so let's start with Evenings and Weekends by Oisin McKenna. For me, this book was just okay. It's interesting because in theory it combines lots of elements that I really like. It's very character driven, there's romance, but I feel like the characters in this book just make collectively terrible decisions over and over and over. And they're not very nice to each other sometimes. And I don't know, I'm kind of a fluffy romance girl, you know. I like it when my characters are obsessed with each other and yearning and like doing nice things for people. I didn't feel like that was my experience of this one. I have no particular complaints with the writing. I think it was written fine. It has a little bit of a 2010s rom-com kind of a vibe with the interweaving storylines. Like if you ever watched like Valentine's Day or New Year's Eve, or Love Actually was probably the first one of those. It has that kind of a thing going on where everyone knows each other in some way, but you don't always find out how until later. I have my reading journals handy so that I can refer back to reviews and things, because some of these I read last year. It's March 2026 now, so I must refer back. In case you're not familiar, I have my own book rating system called Peach. Each letter of Peach stands for a different element of the book: plot, enjoyment, artistry, characters, and heart. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars for plot, 2.5 stars for enjoyment, 3 stars for artistry, 3 stars for characters, and 3 stars for heart, which gave me a total of 14.5 out of 25, which when you convert it to a star rating, I gave this one 2.9, which is a close enough round up to 3 stars. So not a terrible time, but not a great time either. Just kind of not for me, you know? Not enough to DNF, but not for me. I do have to kind of give my Harry Hartog, who was my first one? Christian. I do kind of have to give Christian a shout out though, because this does kind of hit a lot of the points that I mentioned in the form when I filled it out. I was like romance, fantasy, literary fiction, and this does hit the romance and literary fiction somewhat, so I see what he was going for here. Unfortunately, it was a miss for me. Then we have this behemoth, The Crimson Petal and the White. You wouldn't believe when I mentioned this in a couple of reading journal videos how many comments I got from people saying, Emily reads that in Gilmore Girls. I haven't rewatched Gilmore Girls since my attempt to read this, keyword being attempt. I did not finish this book, but I look forward to finding that part the next time I Gilmore Girls rewatch, because that's something I do pretty often. I want you to know I gave it a really good shot. I did this one on audiobook because the sheer length of it intimidated me, and the audiobook, I got it through Audible. I'm pretty sure I ended up paying for this book twice, which is not my dream. The audiobook is 41 hours and 32 minutes long, which is kind of just a lot. And I was like, you know what? If it's good, it'll be worth it. Clearly, you already know I DNF'd it, so I didn't have a great time. This book came out in 2002, which obviously, if it was mentioned by a character in Gilmore Girls, like it can't be that recent. And I can see why maybe it was so exciting at that time. Definitely hitting the literary fiction parameter that I gave them, that I regret at this stage, honestly. It is just not a book for me. I don't like anything that's particularly dark. Supposedly the main character that they mention on the back of this book, we had barely even touched on her at the point that I'm up to. We spent ages with this horrible man whose head I did not want to be inside of for a second longer. I really tried. I gave it 2 shots. So I started reading this one. I started listening to the audiobook in September. I put it on hold when we got to October because I was hosting my Bewitched book challenge, my Halloween reading challenge that I host every year. And I really wanted to read spooky season books, so I was like, we'll put Crimson Petal and the White on hold. And I came back to it and I was like, why am I doing this? I made it to 17%. That doesn't sound like much, but in the scheme of an audiobook that is 41 hours long, I listened to 7 hours worth of this book. That's almost a normal length of book that I read. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do any more. It just isn't aligned with my interests. Actually, that's not entirely true. Like, Victorian London is fascinating to me, but this is kind of dark. It's very gritty. Just not a great time for me. And I don't have a Peach rating for this one. I haven't rated it out of 5 stars because I don't feel like that's fair for me to do when I didn't finish the book. But look, I'm not about to be recommending this to my friends either. I came, I saw, I tried, I gave up. And then we have Modern Divination by Isa Agajanian, also credited as Isabel Agajanian on some of the versions I've seen, so that's interesting. This is the one I read the most recently, and I think it's the one that is the most in line with my actual reading tastes. This one falls into that kind of particular area of fantasy, fiction, paranormal romance overlap, but it takes itself very seriously. It's not like A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangru Mandana. It's not like Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. I would describe it more as in line with Inkblood's Sister Scribe by Emma Torres or The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown, both of which I was kind of lukewarm on. I'm sort of lukewarm on this one as well. It actually became more interesting to me towards the end, which is interesting because I felt like the pacing was a bit strange in this one. There's a big showdown with essentially the big bad of the book at about 75%. And then we have 25% of the book left over that's just interpersonal, kind of people sorting their stuff out with each other. And that's unusual. I didn't hate it, I just thought it was weird and worth mentioning. This one has kind of a dark academia twist to it because part of it takes place at Cambridge University in England. I didn't hate it, but I didn't super connect with it either. It did give me a great opportunity to go a bit ham on the page in my reading journal though for this one, because I had an ink that was just such a good match to this cover. Check that out. This one scored a touch higher than Evenings and Weekends, our first book. On my Peach scale, I gave this one 3 out of 5 for plot, 3 out of 5 for enjoyment, 4 out of 5 for artistry. The writing was actually quite nice. 3 out of 5 for characters, and 3 out of 5 for heart, which brought me up to 16 out of 25, which is 3.2 stars. Rounded up to 3.25 because nowhere accepts anything smaller than a quarter-star rating. Storygraph, Goodreads, etc. So 3 1/4. Definitely not a new favorite, but a book I would recommend to a few friends who I know like this kind of thing. So on the whole, not the greatest hit rate for me with Harry Hartog's fiction subscription. 2 books I was kind of lukewarm on, and 1 I was never going to finish. But it's entirely possible that outcome was my own fault because I told them I liked literary fiction, and then they sent me literary fiction and I didn't like it. So if nothing else, this was an experiment that taught me that about myself, and now I'll know not to put that in form fields when trying out subscriptions again. I actually tried out another Australian-based tailored book subscription a while ago, and they had you put in a link to your book tracking app of choice, Goodreads, Storygraph, Fable, in order to get an idea of what you're into and what you've already read, which I think is an interesting point. I can understand why maybe they don't do that with this. That's a lot of work to sift through everything, but I do think that's a good way to gather that data for tailored book subscriptions. So if you are interested in trying out Harry Hartog's book subscription, I just recommend that you're very specific in that form. I mean, I mentioned authors that I like and I didn't receive anything along the lines of those, so that's okay. We only had 3 months to do it in. Maybe if I'd tried a 12-month subscription, I would have found some new favorites, who knows? Is there another book subscription service that you'd like to see me try? Let me know in the comments down below if so. And if you're interested in seeing what else is out there, here is a link to my book subscription reviews playlist. And here's another video YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Thank you for sticking around all the way to the end of the video. May your next read be 5 stars.